My husband's ex told the kids to treat me like a stranger. So I did. And what followed wasn't just shocking for them, it completely shattered our family. It was a Tuesday afternoon and I was in my home office when my stepdaughter, Hazel, who was 14, left her phone on the kitchen counter. She was upstairs, so when the screen lit up I couldn't help but see the preview. Mom says we don't have to pretend anymore. Just be polite like she's Dad's roommate. I stood there, coffee mug in hand, reading those words over and over. Each time, it felt like a small knife twisting in my gut. For 3 years I had poured my heart and soul into those kids. I'd been married to their dad, Trevor, for 2, but I knew everything about them. I knew Hazel needed her backpack by the door the night before school, or mornings became pure chaos. I knew Owen, 11, only ate sandwiches cut diagonally, because it made them taste better. I knew they both needed permission slips signed 24 hours in advance, because their mom would inevitably forget, leading to absolute pandemonium. I knew Hazel's math anxiety spiked before tests, and she needed me to quiz her patiently until it clicked. I knew Owen had nightmares about getting lost and needed me to check every lock before he could sleep. I knew Hazel still secretly slept with her stuffed elephant, and Owen learned his spelling words best when I turned them into songs. I knew which parents could carpool, which teachers responded to emails, and which homework strategies avoided tears. I knew Hazel's first crush, a secret she'd never told her dad. I knew Owen was being bullied, too ashamed to tell anyone else. I knew all of this because I paid attention. Because I showed up. Because I cared. Their biological mom, Vanessa, had been poisoning them against me from day one. Little comments, she's probably temporary. Real families don't include replacements. Your dad will come to his senses. She'd skip her weekends, then tell the kids I'd convinced their dad she shouldn't come around. She bought them new phones not as gifts but as surveillance devices, tiny screens letting her intrude on our family dinners, asking what I was feeding them if I was nice, constantly reminding them she was their real mother and I was just passing through. I tried everything to make it work. Family therapy where the kids sat with crossed arms, coached by their mother. Long, exhausting talks with Trevor about boundaries, which usually ended with him saying he couldn't control her. Patient discussions with the kids about blended families, about how love expands, not divides. Nothing worked. How do you compete with biology? How do you fight someone who holds the ultimate trump card, saying, "I'm your real mother," with all the weight of blood and birth behind it? When I saw that text, something fundamental inside me just broke. Not dramatically, no anger or tears, just a quiet snapping. Like a bridge cable giving way after years of strain. Fine. I'd be the stranger they wanted. Wednesday morning my alarm went off at 5:30. Coffee, emails, work. Trevor had left at 5 for a project in Springfield, gone for at least 12 hours. Hazel came downstairs at 6:15, volleyball uniform on, hair wet, backpack slung over her shoulder. That focused look she got before tournaments. "Can you drive me early today? I need to be there by 6:45. Coach said if we're late we don't play." I looked up from my laptop. "You'll need to ask your dad about rides." She blinked, confused. "Dad's not here. He left at 5, remember? Then I guess you'll need to figure out alternative transportation." She stood there, frozen. "What? You're seriously not taking me?" I met her gaze. "I'm just a stranger, Hazel. Your dad's roommate according to your mom. Strangers don't rearrange their schedules for other people's kids." Her face cycled through confusion, then realization, then anger, then panic. "Are you kidding me? This is insane." Not even a little bit. I wasn't kidding at all. For 3 years I'd been her backup for everything. Every forgotten assignment, every ride, every 11 p.m. emotional crisis, every early morning emergency. I knew the carpool schedules of every teammate's parent. I was the default team mom. "This is insane. You're being petty?" "I'm being exactly what your mother suggested. Politely distant." She grabbed her phone, called Vanessa, once, twice, 3 times. No answer. Called Trevor, 2 hours away, couldn't turn back. She tried 3 teammates' parents. 1 didn't answer. 2 couldn't help on such short notice. Hazel missed the entire tournament. Her team lost without their starting setter. Her coach called Trevor, concerned about our usual reliability. Hazel spent the day in her room, crying, rage texting her mother about how I'd ruined everything. I felt terrible hearing her cry. But underneath the guilt I also felt something else. Relief maybe. Or the grim satisfaction of finally letting them experience the natural consequences of their choices. Owen's science fair project was due Friday. For 2 weeks, his half-constructed volcano had sat on the dining room table, gathering dust. Normally, I would have helped him every evening, reminded him, gotten supplies, quizzed him. The night before, I would have stayed up past midnight, painting, ensuring the baking soda ratio was perfect, printing labels, helping with his display board. Thursday evening at 8:30, with the project barely started, Owen dragged himself downstairs. "Can you help me finish my volcano? It's due tomorrow, first period." I didn't look up from my book. That sounds like something a parent should help with. But you always help me. My diorama, my solar system. I always helped Owen, my stepson. But according to your mother's instructions, I'm just Dad's roommate. Roommates don't do school projects. That's not appropriate. His lower lip trembled. But Dad's on a call with Japan. He'll be 2 more hours. Then you should have managed your time better. Asked one of your actual parents for help earlier in the week. 2 weeks is plenty of time. I'll get a 0. Mrs. Patterson doesn't accept late work. That's unfortunate. Maybe next time you'll plan ahead. Real tears streamed down his face. The same tears that had manipulated me for 3 years into fixing every problem, solving every crisis. "Please," he begged. "I'm sorry about the text. I'm sorry about what Mom said. I'm not doing this because I'm angry, Owen. I'm doing this because your mother is right. I'm not your parent. Your parents should be handling your education. I've been overstepping. This is better for everyone." He cried harder, his whole body shaking. Eventually, he dragged the pathetic, half-finished volcano upstairs. I could hear him trying, frustrated sounds, something crashing, probably paint. More crying. Trevor finished his call around 11 p.m. By then it was too late. The volcano was a lumpy mess, the display board scribbled out. A disaster. I heard Trevor trying to salvage it, his patient dad voice explaining they'd do their best. Owen sobbing that it wasn't good enough. Friday afternoon, Owen came home with red eyes and a rubric, 35%. Failed. His teacher's note, "Well below your normal standard, Owen." What happened? When Vanessa found out, she sent Trevor a furious string of texts. I wasn't supposed to see them, but he showed me, his jaw tight. She called me vindictive, said I was sabotaging the kids out of spite, that Trevor needed to get his wife under control. Trevor was confused. "Why didn't you just help him like you normally do? Why would you let an 11-year-old fail?" That's when I showed him the text from Vanessa to Hazel. He read it 3 times, his expression darkening. "She told them to treat you like a stranger, like a roommate?" Those were the specific words. "Yes. And you decided to just stop helping them completely. Just like that." I decided to respect their mother's wishes. She's right, Trevor. I have been overstepping for years. They have 2 biological parents. Those parents should be handling their needs. I'm not their mother. I never will be. So, I'm correcting my behavior. That's not what I want. That's not what we agreed on. What we agreed on doesn't matter if the kids don't want me in that role. Vanessa is their mother. If she thinks my involvement is inappropriate, then I need to step back. It's actually better this way. Clearer boundaries, less confusion. He didn't agree it was better, but he couldn't argue with the logic. His ex-wife had set a boundary. I was respecting it. That should be a good thing, right? The following week was Hazel's 15th birthday. In previous years, I'd spent weeks planning. Her favorite dinner, a homemade cake with raspberry filling, I'd perfected the recipe. Thoughtful gifts, like the custom necklace she'd cried happy tears over and worn for 6 months straight. This year, I did absolutely nothing. On her birthday, she came home from school, waiting by the front door, looking expectantly toward the kitchen. I was in the living room reading. "Aren't we going to get my cake from that bakery downtown, the one with the raspberry filling?" I turned a page. "I'm sure your mom will handle that. Mom's working late. She texted that you take care of the birthday stuff like you always do." Did she? I still didn't look up. "Well, I'm just your dad's wife. Birthday celebrations are a parent job. I'm certain your mother will figure something out." Confusion spread across her face slowly, like ink in water. "But you always do my birthday. You're the one who makes it special. I used to overstep my role. I'm correcting that now. Your parents should be handling milestone celebrations. This is because of that stupid text, isn't it? Because of what Mom said." Finally, I looked at her directly. "This is because your mother is absolutely right. I'm not your parent. I never will be. Biology matters. Her role matters. Mine doesn't. So, from now on, your actual parents will handle parent responsibilities." Her birthday dinner was lukewarm pizza Trevor grabbed on his way home. No special meal. No homemade cake. No carefully chosen gifts, just a card with $100 cash from Vanessa, 3 days late. I heard Hazel crying in her room around 10 p.m. Muffled, like her face was buried in a pillow. Every single instinct screamed at me to go to her, to comfort her, to explain I was hurt but still loved her, to fix this like I'd fixed everything else for 3 years. But I stayed in my bedroom, door closed, forcing myself not to move. If I went to her now, nothing would change. She'd just learned my boundaries meant nothing. Trevor came into our room around 11. He sat on the bed rubbing his face. "You're really doing this?" "I am." "She's devastated. She'll recover. Plenty of kids have birthdays without elaborate celebrations. That's not the point. And you know it. The point is her mother set a boundary and I'm respecting it." He was quiet. "I don't know how to fix this." "There's nothing to fix. This is how it should have been from the beginning. You have 2 kids. You and Vanessa are their parents. I'm your wife. Those are separate roles that shouldn't have gotten confused." He didn't agree it was better, but he couldn't argue. His ex-wife had set a boundary. I was respecting it. That should be a good thing, right? By week 3, the household had completely deteriorated. Owen came down with a stomach bug on Wednesday, vomiting at 3 a.m. Normally, I would have handled it. I work from home. My schedule is flexible. Trevor works in construction with strict site visits. For 3 years, I'd been the default sick day parent. But this time, when Owen started throwing up, I woke Trevor instead. "Owen's sick. Sounds like he's vomiting. You'll need to call in tomorrow." Trevor, barely conscious, said, "Can't you just handle it? You're already home." "I have that critical client meeting." "I'm not his parent. This is your responsibility. Call your boss." He missed the meeting. The client was understanding, but barely. Told Trevor's supervisor they needed someone more reliable. Trevor spent the entire day exhausted, cleaning vomit, trying to keep Owen hydrated, falling behind on emails. Meanwhile, I worked in my office, door closed, pretending I couldn't hear Owen calling for me. "Why won't she come?" I heard Owen ask his dad. The sound made my chest hurt. "She always makes that ginger tea, plays those audiobooks." Trevor didn't answer. He just changed the subject to crackers. Hazel's math anxiety spiraled. A major test on quadratic equations was Thursday. Usually, I'd quiz her for hours, walk her through problems until her hands stopped shaking. This time, when she asked for help, I told her to watch Khan Academy videos. "But I don't understand how they explain it." "You explain it better. Your parents can help you. Or they can hire a tutor." She failed the test. A 58. Her first failing grade ever. She came home Thursday, sobbing, threw her backpack across the kitchen, and screamed that she hated me, that I was cruel and vindictive, that she wished I'd never married her dad. Good, I thought. It's easier to hate a stranger than someone you depend on. She ran upstairs, slamming her door. That night, I overheard Trevor on the phone with Vanessa. His voice tight with anger. "You need to undo this. Call the kids right now and tell them you were wrong." Vanessa's voice, sharp and defensive, came through the speaker. "I wasn't wrong. She's not their mother. She needs to remember her place." Her place. Trevor's voice rose. "Her place has been keeping our kids' lives running smoothly for 3 years while you skip weekends and forget pickups. Don't you dare blame me for having to work. I have to work too. So does she. But somehow she made it work for 3 years. She learned everything about them. She's been more present than you have." Silence. Then Vanessa, "So you chose her over your own children." "I chose someone who actually shows up, who doesn't use our kids as weapons, who doesn't send manipulative texts designed to hurt someone who's been nothing but good to them." She hung up. Week 4 was when things crossed into dangerous territory. Hazel had a severe allergic reaction at lunch. One of her friends had brought homemade cookies, unlabeled. Within 20 minutes, her throat started swelling. The school nurse called me first. I was listed as the primary emergency contact. For 3 years, I'd been the one to handle all medical emergencies. When my phone rang, my stomach dropped, but I didn't answer. They called Trevor. He was 45 minutes away. They called Vanessa. She was in court, phone off, unreachable. They called me again. I let it ring. The nurse's voice on the message was stressed, urgent. "This is Carol from Hillside Middle. Hazel's having an allergic reaction. We've administered her EpiPen, but we need a parent here immediately. She's stable but scared and asking for you specifically." I sat at my desk, staring at my phone, hands physically shaking. This was too far. This was actual medical danger. A child who needed help, whose throat might be swelling shut, frightened and calling for me. But if I went running every single time, nothing would ever change. They'd learned I was a reliable backup, and Vanessa would keep pulling this manipulative garbage. They needed to understand, actions have real consequences. You can't systematically push someone away and still expect them to catch you every time you fall. I waited 20 minutes, long enough for Trevor to get the message, long enough for Vanessa to emerge from court and see 47 missed calls. Long enough for Hazel to experience what it genuinely felt like when the person she depended on for years didn't show up. Then I drove to the school. When I walked into the nurse's office, Hazel was on the cot, face splotchy and swollen, eyes red from crying and the reaction. The moment she saw me, her entire face crumpled. You didn't come. They called you first and you didn't come. Your dad is on his way. Should be here in about 10 minutes. I asked for you. They said they called you twice. The nurse looked at me with obvious confusion, a bit of judgment. She knew me. She'd seen me there for every scrape, every fever, every panic attack. I'm just a step-parent, I said. Her actual parents should handle medical emergencies. I sat in an uncomfortable plastic chair, silent. Not comforting Hazel, not holding her hand. Just waiting until Trevor burst through the door 15 minutes later, frantic and terrified. Is she okay? What happened? Why didn't you come immediately? I looked at him evenly. You're her father. Medical emergencies are a parent's responsibility. He stared at me like he didn't recognize me. Then he turned all his attention to Hazel. I left while they were still discussing it. That evening Trevor and I had our worst fight yet. He followed me into our bedroom, closing the door hard. She could have died. Do you understand that? She had her EpiPen. The nurse was there. She was fine. She was terrified. She was crying for you and you just didn't show up. You made a conscious choice to let a child suffer. Her mother told her I was a stranger. Strangers don't leave work for other people's medical emergencies. Stop saying that. Stop using that text as an excuse to punish children for their mother's behavior. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm establishing appropriate boundaries that should have existed from the beginning. Boundaries? You're traumatizing them. You're teaching them that love is conditional. They were already being traumatized by having someone in their life their mother told them to reject. By being forced to choose between caring about me and being loyal to her. I'm removing that confusion. Now their family structure is clear. You're their dad. Vanessa's their mom. I'm your wife. Separate roles? That's not how this family works. That's not what we built. It's exactly how this family works when one parent is actively sabotaging the other. When one parent uses children as weapons. His face was red with anger. You're no better than she is right now. You're using them to hurt her. I'm protecting myself. There's a difference. He grabbed his pillow and slept in the guest room that night and for the next 3 nights. By week 5, I'd systematically stopped doing anything remotely parental. No cooking family meals. I made dinner for Trevor and myself. The kids could make sandwiches or cereal. Not my responsibility. No laundry except my own. Their clothes piled up. No driving anywhere. If they needed to go somewhere, they could bike or ask their parents. No helping with homework. No attending school events. No managing their schedules. No gift buying, no permission slips, no packed lunches. The house fell into complete and total chaos. Owen missed soccer practice 3 times in 1 week, got benched. Came home crying, but I was in my office with headphones on. Hazel ran out of clean volleyball uniforms, came home humiliated. Both kids were surviving on cereal and fast food Trevor grabbed at 8 p.m. Their grades were slipping, missing assignments. They looked exhausted, disheveled, lost. And they were absolutely furious with me. Hazel stopped speaking to me entirely. Owen tried manipulation, big sad eyes, dramatic sighs, mentioning loudly how he wished someone cared enough to help. When that didn't work, he joined Hazel in the silent treatment. Meanwhile, Vanessa was getting frantic calls from the school about the kids' declining performance. Teachers were concerned, the counselor wanted a meeting. Vanessa blamed me for everything. Sent Trevor long, detailed texts about my cruelty. Threatened to take him back to court for custody modifications, saying I was creating an unsafe environment. Good, I told Trevor when he showed me the texts. Let her have full custody. Let her handle literally everything herself for once. See how long she lasts before she realizes how much work it actually is. You don't mean that. I absolutely do. I'm tired. I've been trying for 3 years to love kids who've been told not to love me back. I'm done being the person who does all the work and gets none of the appreciation. I'm done being convenient. Week 6 brought the breaking point for everyone. It was a Friday. Trevor had left Wednesday for a 3-day industry conference. Vanessa was supposed to take the kids for the weekend but canceled last minute, claiming a work emergency. So, the kids were stuck with me for 3 days. Neither spoke to me. They holed up in their rooms. I worked, leaving them alone. They ordered pizza with Trevor's memorized credit card. Saturday afternoon, around 2 p.m., Owen's phone lit up. His best friend, Dylan, was having a last-minute birthday party at the trampoline park, starting in an hour at 3:30. Dylan's mom could pick up a few, but not everyone. Owen appeared in my office doorway at 2:15, shifting nervously. "Can you drive me to Dylan's party? It starts at 3:30. I didn't look up. "No. Please? Everyone from class is going. I can't miss Dylan's birthday. Figure out another ride." "There is no other ride. Dylan's mom can't pick me up. Dad's at his conference. Mom's not answering." His face started getting red, his breathing quickened. "Why are you doing this? Why are you being so mean?" "I'm just following your mother's instructions. I'm treating you the way she suggested. I don't care what Mom said anymore." "I'm sorry, okay? Is that what you want? Just please take me to the party." "You don't mean that apology. You just want something from me right now." "I do mean it. I'm really sorry. I miss when you were nice to me. I miss when you helped me with stuff and made things fun." Something in his voice almost broke through my resolve. Almost made me cave. But I remembered that text message. The casual cruelty of it. The deliberate instruction to treat me like I didn't matter. "I'm in the middle of work. Not available for driving today." He stared for a few more seconds, then ran upstairs. I heard his door slam, heard him crying. Hazel went into his room to comfort him. Their voices low through the wall. 20 minutes later, Hazel appeared in my office doorway. Her face blotchy and red from crying too. "He's up there sobbing because he's missing his best friend's birthday party. Does that make you happy? Is this what you wanted?" "I'm neutral about it. How can you be so cold? You used to actually care about us. You used to be someone I could talk to. I used to overstep boundaries. I'm correcting that now. This isn't about boundaries. You're punishing us because your feelings got hurt. My feelings don't matter. What matters is respecting your mother's parental role. My mother is barely around. She works all the time and cancels on us constantly and forgets important stuff." "Then maybe you should tell her that." "I have told her that. She doesn't listen. She just keeps saying you're trying to replace her and that we need to stay loyal to our real family." "And you believed her." Silence. "You believed her," I repeated. "For 3 years I showed up for you every single day. I learned everything about you. I adjusted my entire life around your needs. I loved you. And one text from her was all it took for you to decide I was the enemy. That's not fair. She's our mom. We have to listen to her." "You're right. She's your mom and I'm not. I never will be. So, from now on she can handle all the mom jobs. I'm finished trying to be something you don't actually want me to be." Hazel's face crumpled. "I do want you to be that. I got confused. She made me feel guilty for liking you." "You weren't confused. You made a choice. You chose to believe her. You chose to treat me like I don't matter. That's fine. But choices have consequences. Actions have consequences. You don't get to have it both ways. So you're going to treat us like this forever? You're just going to stop caring about us completely? I'm going to treat you exactly how your mother suggested. Politely distant, like your dad's roommate who shares space with you but has no real role in your life. Even when we're sorry? Even when we realize we were wrong? Words are easy. Anyone can say sorry when they want something. You weren't sorry last week. You weren't sorry when I wasn't taking you places and helping with projects. You're only sorry now because your brother is missing something important and you're realizing how much you actually relied on me." She left my office. I heard her go back upstairs, heard them talking in low voices. More crying. Around 6 p.m. my phone rang. Dylan's mother. "Hi there, I'm calling about Owen. He was supposed to be at the party but he never showed up. Dylan's been so disappointed. Is everything all right?" "He's fine. Just couldn't make it today." "Oh no, Dylan's been upset all afternoon. I would have been happy to pick Owen up if transportation was an issue. I could have fit one more." "That's very kind of you, but it's all handled." "Well, Dylan really wanted Owen there. Do you think he might be able to come over tomorrow for a small celebration?" "You'd have to discuss that with his father. He's at a conference until Sunday evening, but you can try his cell." "Oh, okay then. I'll do that. I hope everything's all right with your family." After I hung up, I felt physically sick. Not because of what I'd done, but because I realized something important. The kids weren't the only casualties of Vanessa's poison. I was losing myself too. becoming cold and rigid and cruel in response to her manipulation, hurting children to make a point to their mother, turning into exactly the kind of person I'd never wanted to be. That evening around 8, Hazel and Owen emerged from upstairs together. They looked nervous, sad, younger than their actual ages. They sat on the couch across from my reading chair, close together, supporting each other. "We need to talk to you," Hazel said quietly. I closed my book and waited. Owen's voice was small and shaky. "We talked to Mom today. Told her everything that's been happening. All of it." Hazel took over. "She said we misunderstood her text. That she didn't mean for us to treat you badly. She just meant we didn't have to call you Mom if we didn't want to. That we could keep our relationship with her separate from our relationship with you. That's a very convenient reinterpretation after the fact." Hazel winced. "I know. But she also said some other stuff about how she's been struggling with you being in our lives. How it makes her feel like she's being replaced. How she's scared we'll love you more than her because you're around more. So, she decided to make absolutely sure you didn't love me at all." "Yeah." Hazel's voice was barely audible. "I think that's exactly what she did." We sat in silence. I could hear the clock ticking, a car driving past, my own heartbeat. Owen spoke next, words tumbling out fast. "We've been really, really stupid. You've been taking care of us forever. And we treated you like you didn't matter because Mom made us feel guilty for liking you. But you do matter. You matter a lot. You're not stupid. You're kids stuck in an impossible situation that adults created. We don't want you to be distant anymore," Hazel said. "We want things to go back to how they were before." I looked at both of them, seeing the hope and fear. "I can't do that." Their faces fell. "I can't go back to how things were before because how things were before wasn't sustainable or healthy. I was drowning. I was doing absolutely everything for you while your mother actively undermined me, and your dad stayed mostly oblivious. I was exhausted and unappreciated and treated like I was temporary, like I didn't really matter, like I could be dismissed whenever it was convenient. We appreciate you now," Owen said quickly. "We really do. We see how much you were doing. Now you appreciate me. Now you see it because you've experienced what life looks like without me handling everything. But the second things get comfortable again, we'll end up right back where we started. Your mom will get jealous again. She'll say something that makes you feel guilty. You'll pull away from me. And I'll be left hurt and confused all over again. I can't do that cycle anymore. So what do we do?" Hazel asked. "How do we fix this? You talk to your mother, both of you, together. You tell her that you love her and appreciate her, but that you also care about me. You tell her that me being in your life doesn't erase her or replace her. You set boundaries with her about the kind of things she says about me in your home here. And you actually hold those boundaries even when it's uncomfortable. She's not going to like that. She doesn't have to like it. But if she genuinely loves you, she'll respect it. She'll put your needs ahead of her insecurities." "And then what?" Owen asked. "After you talk to her, then we all go to family therapy. All 5 of us, if your mother will agree. And we figure out how to build something sustainable. Not me doing everything while everyone else coasts. Not me doing nothing while you all suffer. Something in the middle where everyone contributes and everyone's role is clear and everyone feels valued. What if Mom won't come to therapy? Then we do it without her and figure out what this family looks like with healthy boundaries. But the invitation stays open for her." They both nodded slowly. "Can I ask you something?" Hazel said. "Do you still love us? After everything we did? After how we treated you?" I took a deep breath. "I never stopped loving you. I just stopped showing it in ways that were hurting me. And I'm not going to apologize for protecting myself. Love without boundaries isn't healthy. Love without reciprocity isn't sustainable. I had to step back before I started resenting you, because that would have been worse for everyone. We're really truly sorry," Owen said, fresh tears streaming down his face. "For all of it. For believing Mom. For treating you like you didn't matter. For taking advantage of how much you did for us. I know you are. I can see that you mean it now. Can we hug you?" I hesitated for just a second, then nodded. They both rushed over, wrapping their arms around me. I hugged them back, feeling 3 years of tension and hurt and love all pressing against my chest. "I'm sorry I didn't take you to the party," I whispered to Owen. "I'm sorry I let Mom make me treat you bad," he whispered back through his tears. "I'm sorry I failed my math test instead of asking you for help," Hazel added. "I'm sorry I missed my tournament and blamed you. I'm sorry for all of it." We stayed like that for several minutes. When Trevor came home Sunday evening, exhausted, he found the 3 of us in the kitchen making dinner together. Not because I'd taken over cooking but because we were all working together, all contributing. Owen was attempting to cut vegetables, badly but trying. Hazel was watching garlic bread, had already burned the first batch. I was trying to save an oversalted pasta sauce. We were laughing at our mistakes. It was messy, chaotic, nothing like the smooth, efficient machine I'd been running. Trevor stood in the doorway with his suitcase, completely confused. "What's happening here?" "We're making dinner," Hazel said, grinning despite the smoke detector that had gone off twice. "All of us together. We're really bad at it," Owen added cheerfully, holding up a weirdly cut carrot. Trevor looked at me. "We had some conversations this weekend," I said. "We're trying something different." "Different how?" "Different like everyone actually participates. Different like I'm not the only one holding everything together. Different like we're building something sustainable instead of something dependent entirely on me." That night, after the kids went to bed, after we'd eaten our mediocre pasta and laughed about our cooking skills, I told Trevor everything. The full extent of my conversations with Hazel and Owen, the plan, the boundaries, the therapy that needed to happen, and how things absolutely could not go back to before. "I can't be everything to everyone anymore," I said. "I can't be the primary parent while Vanessa gets to swoop in and play fun mom and also poison them against me. I can't carry this family alone while everyone else just benefits from my labor." "You shouldn't have to carry it alone," he said, rubbing his temples. "I should have seen what was happening. I should have protected you from her. You should have, but you didn't. So now we need to build something better. The kids need to do more for themselves. Need to learn actual life skills. You need to take on more of the parenting duties, be present for their daily needs instead of just the fun stuff. Vanessa needs to be genuinely present when she has them and stop with the manipulation and toxicity. And I need to be allowed to be a human being with limits instead of an endless well of service." What if Vanessa won't change? What if she keeps doing what she's been doing? Then the kids will see clearly who actually shows up consistently and who doesn't. They'll see who respects them enough to be honest and who manipulates them. They'll make their own choices about who they trust. But I can't control her. I can only control myself. The following Monday we scheduled a family meeting with Vanessa. She didn't want to come, made excuses. But Trevor made it clear it wasn't optional if she wanted to maintain her custody arrangement without court involvement. That got her attention. She arrived at 6 p.m., arms crossed defensively, barely making eye contact. Sat in the chair farthest from me. Hazel spoke first, voice shaking but determined. "Mom, we need to talk about the text you sent us about treating her like Dad's roommate." Vanessa's expression was immediately defensive. "I already explained that. You misunderstood what I meant." "No," Hazel said, more firmly than I'd ever heard her speak to her mother. "I don't think we misunderstood. I think you told us to push her away because you were jealous. And it almost ruined everything." Vanessa's face flushed. "I'm your mother. I have a right to what?" Owen interrupted, his voice stronger than usual. "To make us feel guilty for caring about someone? To make us choose between you and her when we shouldn't have to choose at all? That's not what I was doing." "That's exactly what you were doing," Trevor said firmly. "And it stops right now. You can't tell me how to parent my children. I can tell you that if you keep poisoning them against my wife, if you keep using them as weapons in whatever battle you think you're fighting, I will take you back to court not for more custody, but for documented parental alienation with evidence." The room went completely silent. Vanessa looked at me directly for the first time, her expression mixing anger and something that might have been shame. "You really turned them all against me." "I didn't have to turn anyone against you," I said quietly. "You did that yourself by prioritizing your insecurities over their well-being." She stood abruptly, grabbed her purse. "I'm not sitting here and being attacked by all of you." "Mom?" Hazel said urgently. "Please don't leave. Please just listen. Call me when you're all ready to apologize for being disrespectful." She walked out. We heard her car start, drive away. The four of us sat in the living room for several minutes. The kids looked devastated. Trevor looked resigned. "Well," he said eventually, "that went about as well as I expected it to go." "She'll come around," Hazel said, but her voice was uncertain. "She has to, right? Maybe or maybe she won't. Either way we move forward." 3 weeks passed. Vanessa still hadn't called the kids, hadn't answered their calls. The silent treatment from their mother hurt them badly, but it also clarified things in a way words never could have. In those 3 weeks, things changed gradually in our household. The kids started doing their own laundry, managing homework, figuring out their own transportation. Trevor started taking mornings off, being more present for their daily struggles. I found a sustainable middle ground. I helped when they asked and when I had the capacity, but I also said no sometimes without guilt. I prioritized my own work and needs. I let them fail occasionally, knowing failing was the best teacher. I was caring but boundaried, present but not drowning. It wasn't perfect. We still had difficult days. But it was honest. It was sustainable. It was built on mutual respect instead of endless obligation. One evening, about a month after everything had changed, Hazel came into my office. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." I saved my work and turned my chair to face her. "Are you glad this all happened? Like, do you think all the bad stuff made things better in the end?" I thought about it carefully. I'm not glad you got hurt. I'm not glad things had to get so terrible before they could improve. But I am glad we all learned something true about ourselves and each other, something we needed to learn. What did you learn? That I can't pour from an empty cup. That love without boundaries isn't actually healthy love. That sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let people experience the consequences of their choices. That protecting yourself isn't selfish. That you can love people and still require them to treat you with respect. She nodded slowly. I learned that just because someone is related to me doesn't mean I have to accept their toxic behavior. And that sometimes people who love you will walk away to protect themselves, and that doesn't mean they stopped loving you. That's very wise for a 15-year-old. I learned it from watching you these past few weeks. After she left, I sat thinking about how we'd all been trapped in a pattern that wasn't working. How sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to participate in your own mistreatment. How children are far more resilient than we think when we give them space to be. Vanessa eventually came around 6 weeks after the family meeting. Called and apologized to the kids, though notably not to me. Started showing up more consistently for her weekends. Stopped sending manipulative texts, or at least the kids stopped telling me about them. We weren't friendly, but we were functionally coexisting. My husband's ex told the kids to treat me like a stranger, so I did the same to them. And in that painful empty space that created, we all finally learned what it actually meant to build something real and sustainable instead of something dependent on one person's endless sacrifice. This was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do for my family. Have you ever been pushed to a breaking point like this and had to draw a really hard line in the sand? What would you have done in my place? Let me know in the comments below.